Hello, my creative friends. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and many, if not all of us, have been affected in some way by breast cancer. Perhaps you yourself have battled it, or perhaps it has been a family member, a loved one, a friend, a coworker, or a neighbor that has had cancer and fought the good fight. So, in honor of those who have fought, and in honor of those that I love that have fought and are fighting breast cancer, I wanted to make a card today for breast cancer awareness. And I started the card and decided I'll film this little video so I can have a little public service announcement and just show you what I've done. Now, as far as I know, this year Stampin' Up! Has not come out with a breast cancer stamp set. They did last year though, and I got this. It's Strength and Hope, and it's a really great stamp set. I held on to it. So as you can see, hopefully from my card base, I have the words, the sentiments here from Strength and Hope. I took this stamp set and I stamped it in crumb cake, and then I stamped it on the page and I inked it up again and then went over and did it here. And there's a little bit of, I missed the ink a little, and there's a gap, but it doesn't matter. We're going to cover this up with that postage square, and once we have the ribbon hanging down, you're not going to be able to tell. Plus, I decided to emboss it. So I'm not going to stamp this for you. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this over to my Big Shot and I'm going to emboss it, and I'll be right back. So once you have the embossing in person, it's even harder to see the script. But if it bothers you that it's not perfectly aligned and perfectly stamped, you can do a couple of things. One, you could use a Stamp-A-Majig. That's a great way to make sure that things are lined up and aligned. Another thing you can do, if it's too late and you've already stamped it, is you can use a sponge. Now, I wouldn't use this one. I would actually use crumb cake and sponge around here, and just adding that bit of distressing helps. It makes it look more like it's supposed to be that way, but it also hides some more imperfections. But this is, it's okay. Really, it's okay that it's not perfect this time. Okay, so that's the base of the card. I also used this H. I think this is one of the reasons I kept this stamp set, because it's H. My name's Heather. It says Hope, and so I stamped it, and then I used the 1-inch square punch and punched it out, and then I have the postage stamp punch, and I'm going to adhere this to the postage stamp, and then I'm going to pop that up. But I think I'm going to wait a minute or two, and I'm going to focus on my ribbon. So what you want to do is pick, if you want to make this, pick 3 ribbons. This happens to be the Retired Blushing Bride, and I think I want it to look about like that. So what I'm going to do, I know you can't see it in this camera shot, but the grid paper has lines and a ruler, and so I'm just lining this up with the bottom, and I'm going to line it up at 9 inches and go ahead and cut it. And then I've got a second ribbon that's 9 inches. And my last ribbon I'm going to do a little bit smaller. So these two are at 9 inches. I need to turn this around so I can see it better. I think what I'm going to do to adhere it is line it up at the top there. I'm going to take my glue dots. Glue dots are a wonderful adhesive, wonderful all-purpose adhesive. So I'm going to put a glue dot where I want the 2 ribbons to come together, the 2 ends to come together. Nothing scientific here. And then press them like that. Let me see if this one will, this one's retired as well. But check out the clearance rack, because you never know when your favorite things are going to end up back there on that clearance rack. And the great thing about glue dots with ribbon is it gives you a little bit of playtime and a little bit of forgiveness. Not so much with paper. It kind of sticks on there. But now we have our 2 ribbons. And I think I probably should have done this first. I'm going to attach this piece to my, is that crumb cake or Sahara sand? I think this is Sahara sand. I was saying crumb cake, but really it's Sahara sand, so use Sahara sand. So for my card front, this is very vanilla that I stamped the Sahara sand sentiment on. It's 5 1/4 by 4, and then the Sahara sand matte is 1/8 of an inch bigger. So it's 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. So I have these ribbons that I attached with the glue dot. And I'm going to use another glue dot to adhere it to the card base. I like using the paper piercing tool to pick up the glue dots and place them. That way my hand's not quite in the way so much. But another thing you can do, especially with this ribbon, is just put the ribbon right there on the glue dot and pull it off. Can you see? And my goal here is to have this and this be in a similar position on opposite sides. But be careful with that glue dot, because once it hits the paper, man, it is stuck. Okay, I like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim up these little ends a bit. Alright, when I pick it up, this one's flopping, so I need to, I think, roll a little glue dot and put it underneath the ribbon right there. The other one's not really doing it, so I think I'll just leave it on that one. And next I'm going to take this Primrose Petals. It's the Stitch Satin ribbon. And I'm going to place this in the center. I was going to do this crochet trim, and that would be pretty too. But I kind of like that this is a pop of just a little bit darker color. And I want the center ribbon to be just a little bit smaller. So I'm just eyeballing it. Let me give myself a little bit extra. So this one is 7 inches, and these two were cut at 9 inches to begin with. You could do this next step without the glue dot, and you don't even need it 7 inches. Look, I got it too long. You can do this next step without the glue dot, but I'm going to use one just to hopefully keep it in the right place. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just eyeballing it to make sure that this is centered here to here, and it's where I want it on the page, on the card front. And once I have it where I think I want it, I'm going to take my paper piercing tool and my piercing mat, and I'm just going to pierce right through the center. And this would be easier if you didn't put the glue dot in. I did, and of course I'm going right through the glue dot. And I'm going to take one of these antique brads. I think any one of them would be just lovely. But I'm going to go for this little rosette. I think because the glue dot was in there, it pulled the whole thing up, but you don't have to pull it all the way up. You can actually stick it right through your mat. Put it in, arrange it the way you want it, and then open it up. And if you have trouble opening up brads, and sometimes I do, this one's pretty easy, especially those glitter brads, because the glitter sticks together. Just stick your paper piercing tool down the middle of it. And there you go. That's sweet. Okay. I was going to use snail to put this down, but I don't want to flatten these ribbons. So I think I'm just going to use dimensionals. You could also use the red liner sticky tape, sticky strip. Oh. Too many days watching Dora the Explorer with my preschoolers. You may be thinking, whoa, that's a lot of dimensionals. Do you need that many to make it stick? No, you really don't. But the brad and the ribbon make this heavy. And so to have the same pop and dimension all the way around, I like to add extra dimensionals. I'm sure you already know this tip if you've been following me for any amount of time. Because I love using dimensionals, and this is what I do to make sure that dimensionals don't go flying all over my newly cleaned room. I take just a piece of scrap paper and I run some adhesive, in this case snail, and then as I take off the backing on the dimensionals, I just stick it right onto that snail. This is the little hope that I punched out with the 1-inch square punch. Snail on the back. I added a little basic pearl to the center of each of these to make it look kind of like a pin sticking through all of them. A basic rhinestone would work as well. And there's my card for today. So each and every one of you women that are battling breast cancer right now, I just want you to know my thoughts and prayers are with you. And for all of the rest of us, make sure that you're doing your monthly self-exam and seeing your doctor regularly and getting those mammograms and just taking care of your health, because we want you to live a long time and we want to kick this cancer in the tushy. So my prayer is that we will find a cure soon. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you find some time today to get a little bit creative. Bye!